Eurasia Mining is focused on platinum group metals and operates in Russia. It has two licenses, West Kitlim and Monchetundra. Well, the former is an advanced alluvial deposit going through the permitting process, while the latter is not as far down the road to production, but has drawn outside interest. We are joined by the Managing Director, Christian Shafalitsky. A lot happening in Russia, and are you happy with the progress you've made in 2015?
Certainly. I mean, we've spent quite a long time getting our permitting completed on the West Kitlim project, and we're now in a position where we can start mining next year, assuming that we get all the rest of our ducks lined up correctly. So yes, we've made a lot of progress. Meanwhile, Monchetundra we're doing some more exploration to do exactly the same thing on it, file a discovery certificate, and then apply for a mining license next year.
Okay.
So yes, things are moving quite well.
Let's talk about the metaphor of ducks then. Which ducks are in a row, and is there anybody going to shoot any of those ducks down?
Right. Well, basically, the ones that we have to line up now are, there's a couple of small permits. Forestry has to be cleared, but that's a routine matter. And then we have to get our equipment on site to start mining next summer. Ideally, June, July, if all goes well.
So you're saying if all goes well, how long and painful a process is the system to get the permits and the licenses?
Well, it seems long, but in actual fact, the system seems to have speeded up just in time for us, because the latter stages of our application process were dealt with very fast. In fact, the last stages, which some people have taken 2 years on, we completed in 6 months. So yeah, we were pretty happy with that.
Is that because you have ambassadors and advocates within Russian departments?
No, I think it was more to the fact that there had been a number of hurdles in the system itself which were cleared, so that we arrived at the right time.
So what about the jurisdiction itself, working in Russia? Is it an exciting time to be working there?
Well, I would say that one of the features of having an alluvial platinum project in Russia is that they are actually experts in alluvial mining. We don't see much of it elsewhere in the world, mainly because there isn't a tradition of large-scale alluvial mining, while there is in Russia. So, in terms of, say, finding equipment and qualified staff and management leaders, they're all available in Russia.
What's the world demand like for the resource that you're discovering and producing?
Yes, platinum is used mostly in motor vehicles. Over 50% is used for catalytic converters in diesel engines and in other industrial processes requiring catalytic processes. And at the moment this year, the market is in deficit. So in theory, the price should be in good shape. On the other hand, the price is actually quite a bit down on what it was early this year, and it reflects what's happened in all the commodities.
Okay, is the platinum price working against you?
Well, luckily, one of the nice things about our project is that it'll probably be one of the cheapest mines anywhere in terms of platinum mining. So we can survive at low prices, but of course we'd prefer a higher price. Who wouldn't?
You say cheapest. Now that sounds alarm bells. I don't like the word cheap. Do you
I'll
mean
explain.
cost effective?
I do, yeah. I mean, what it means is that alluvial mining doesn't require a lot of heavy buildings, let's say, for starters, fixed capital investment. Most of it is mobile plant, and that means that you don't have the same upfront costs to get started. And so we can ease into production using just increasing amounts of mobile equipment. So cash flow effectively can pay the bills as you start building the production.
Okay, in terms of infrastructure, what's the capex like, or is it all there on site, paid for?
Yeah, the capex will depend on how fast we go, and in these times when it's quite hard to raise capital without making our long-suffering shareholders get diluted, it makes sense to perhaps do it in stages. And it can cost as little as, in fact, we could even contract mine if we had to, using third parties, but we'd prefer to do our own development. But, and then it can ramp up to a full-scale production in year one, or you can take 3 years to get there. So it's very flexible.
You say long-suffering shareholders, but they're loyal, aren't they?
Eurasia has been lucky, I suppose, in that it has had a lot of good shareholders, and we have two quite big Russian shareholders who've been with us for several years, who've supported the company during difficult times. In the past, the project was actually a joint venture with Anglo Platinum, part of the Anglo-American group. and they retired from the project last year. So it was kind of timely that we're now free to develop the mine without just for the benefit of our own shareholders.
2015 has been defined by low share prices across the sector. Do you pay attention to your share price, or do you just think it will be what it will be and we're just concentrating on our project?
Well, you'd like to say that you could get on with the project and do the work, but our shareholders wouldn't really appreciate it. So yeah, I pay attention to it because I'm a big shareholder myself, and we don't really want to be diluting, but sometimes the market forces you to do things you don't want to do in terms of financing, and I'm doing my best to avoid it.
So in 2016, might we see a slightly dilutive share placing at all?
I would say, I put it a different way. What we hope we will see is the company doing all it can to find ways to do financings without having to place shares.
So when I speak to you in 12 months' time, what do you think the narrative, what will the story be? What will you be telling me?
Okay, our objective is simple. I want to be able to say at the end of next year, we produced platinum. We did so at a profit, and we look forward to doing it again the following year.
And how likely is that narrative?
At the moment, it looks pretty good.
Christian Szefalitsky, Managing Director of Eurasia Mining, thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Thank you.